experience. It takes you to an ocean of pure consciousness, pure knowingness, but it's familiar, it's you, and right away a sense of happiness emerges, not a goofball happiness, but a thick beauty. I have never missed a meditation in 33 years. I meditate once in the morning and again in the afternoon for about 20 minutes each time. Then I go about the business of my day. And I find that the joy of doing increases, intuition increases, the pleasure of life grows, and negativity recedes. Suffocating rubber clown suit. It would be easier to roll up the entire sky into a small cloth than it would be to obtain true happiness without knowing the self. From the Upanishads. When I started meditating, I was filled with anxieties and fears. I felt a sense of depression and anger. I took out this anger on my first wife. After I had been meditating for about 2 weeks, she came to me and said, "What's going on?" I was quiet for a moment, but finally I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "This anger, where did it go?" And I hadn't even realized that it had lifted. I call that depression and anger the suffocating rubber clown suit of negativity. It's suffocating, and that rubber stinks. But once you start meditating and diving within, the clown suit starts to dissolve. You finally realize how putrid was the stink when it starts to go. Then when it dissolves, you have freedom. Anger and depression and sorrow are beautiful things in a story, but they're like poison to the filmmaker or artist. They're like a vice grip on creativity. If you're in that grip, you can hardly get out of bed, much less experience the flow of creativity and ideas. You must have clarity to create. You have to be able to catch ideas. Starting out. I started out just as a regular person growing up in the Northwest. My father was a research scientist for the Department of Agriculture, studying trees. So I was in the woods a lot. And the woods for a child are magical. I lived in what people call small towns. My world was what would be considered about a city block, maybe 2 blocks. Everything occurred in that space. All the dreaming, all my friends existed in that small world. But to me it seemed so huge and magical. There was plenty of time available to dream and be with friends. I liked to paint and I liked to draw. And I often thought, wrongly, that when you got to be an adult, you stopped painting and drawing and did something more serious. In the 9th grade, my family moved to Alexandria, Virginia. On the front lawn of my girlfriend's house one night, I met a guy named Toby Keeler. As we were talking, he said his father was a painter. I thought maybe he might have been a house painter, but further talking got me around to the fact that he was a fine artist. This conversation changed my life. I had been somewhat interested in science, but I suddenly knew I wanted to be a painter, and I wanted to live the art life. The art life. In high school, I read Robert Henri's book, The Art Spirit, which prompted the idea of the art life. For me, living the art life meant a dedication to painting, a complete dedication to it, making everything else secondary. That, I thought, is the only way you're going to get in deep and discover things. So anything that distracts from that path of discovery is not part of the art life, in that way of thinking. Really, the art life means a freedom, and it seems, I think, a hair selfish. But it doesn't have to be selfish. It just means that you need time. Bushnell Keeler, the father of my friend Toby, always had this expression: if you want to get 1 hour of good painting in, you have to have 4 hours of uninterrupted time. And that's basically true. You don't just start painting. You have to sit for a while and get some kind of mental idea in order to go and make the right moves. And you need a whole bunch of materials at the ready. For example, you need to build framework stretchers for the canvas. It can take a long time just to prepare something to paint on. And then you go to work. The idea just needs to be enough to get you started, because for me, whatever follows is a process of action and reaction. It's always a process of building and then destroying, and then, out of this destruction, discovering a thing and building on it. Nature plays a huge part in it, putting different materials together, like baking something in sunlight.